Shawnee, aka Total Makeup Junkie 101. Guess what I have in my little paws? Oh my gosh, I am so excited about this palette. I know you guys have probably heard of it. This is Makeup Forever's 30th anniversary 30/30 palette. Now excuse my hair and you know everything else that's going on here. I kind of just threw it up in a bun because today was just one of those days I just wanted to play with makeup. I didn't want to feel like I had to look super put together. I just wanted to play. And this palette completely brings out my inner makeup artist. Now I'm not a professional makeup artist, but this palette really makes me want to just play, just have fun with color, which is why I am rocking this kind of raver eyeshadow, I guess, but I love it. I used all shadows from this palette to create this look. Today I'm going to be doing a full in-depth review, swatch video slash opening for you guys so you guys can see what this palette is all about. So first off, the palette comes in a box like this. It is really beautiful. I do really love this outer packaging, and this is the back, the top, the bottom, the side, and the side. I feel the need to show you every aspect of the palette. You just slip the palette out of the box, and this is what the actual box that holds the palette looks like. So it's really nice. It's kind of like this sleek, almost like a leather. I'm sure it's not real leather. It's probably just like a faux leather. It's really nice. And then it does have Makeup Forever kind of printed here on the bottom. Mine did come a little bit smushed on the corner here, which is a little unfortunate, but you know, happens. The palette just kind of pops open like this. There is no mirror, but it does have this really nice plastic thing, and it has all of the artists that inspired the colors that are in this palette. And then it comes with this little pamphlet, this brochure, which also shows all of the makeup artists that inspired this palette, and it has a little description on each one. Now before I get into the layout of the palette, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of background on the palette itself. Makeup Forever just recently hit their 30-year anniversary mark, which is a really big milestone for makeup companies. A lot of makeup companies don't hit such amazing milestones like that. And Makeup Forever also recently released their new eyeshadow formula, which is called their Artist Eyeshadow Formula. In this new Artist Eyeshadow Formula, I believe there are over 200 different shades, or right around 200 shades, which is a lot of new shades, and I really wanted to try some out. You can buy the new Artist eyeshadows in singles, in duos, or in trios. So in the duos and trios, you can basically create your own palette. You can just pick 2 different colors, and with the trios, you can pick 3 different colors and put them in your custom compact. However, purchasing them in the singles is quite pricey. I believe they're about $23 per shadow, but if you buy them in the duos and the trios, the price per shadow decreases a little bit. However, if you guys have the money to spend and you guys are still able to get this product because it is limited edition, I would say this is your best bet to try the most variety of colors for the cheapest overall price per shadow. This 30/30 palette retails for $250 US, which is expensive. I am not lying, and I'm not gonna, you know, tell you, oh, it's so inexpensive, this is like chump change for everybody. It's not. It's very expensive for a palette. I will be the first to admit that. However, you are getting 30 full-sized eyeshadows in Makeup Forever's brand spanking new artist formulation. So if you guys are more conscious about your price per shadow, if you take $250 and divide that by 30 shadows, because they are all full size, it retails for right around $8.33 per individual eyeshadow, which is the best price you will get for these shadows. So enough with the price breakdown. Let's just get right into the palette so I can show you all the fun stuff inside. As I showed you, it opens up like this. You actually get 3 separate trays of shadows in this. Each tray contains 10 different shadows, and they all coordinate in one kind of look. The trays just pop out of the palette like this. Each of them have a little ribbon on the side so you can pop them out of the palette, and they all have this little foam little insert that goes on top. And this is what each of the trays looks like. As I said, it contains 10 individual shadows. The top tray right here is the smoky eyeshadow tray, so you can see you're getting tons of really, really fun smoky eyeshadow colors. Second tray that pops out is the neutral shadows. So this is a tray of just neutral eyeshadows. Now, one of the things I love about this palette is that you are not getting all shimmers or all metallics or all mattes. You are getting a really, really, really good variety of tons of different finishes in this palette. So for example, in this tray of 10 neutral eyeshadows, 4 of them are actually matte. This one here is matte, and these 3 here in the top row in the middle are also matte, whereas the other 6 are shimmery. And then you have the last tray, which this is one criticism I have about the palette, is that the bottom tray cannot be pulled out of the palette. It is a part of the palette itself, but this bottom tray has all of the fun, bright eyeshadow colors, and you can see just based on the look I'm wearing today, I was definitely inspired by these brighter colors. Now, one thing I will say is despite this bottom tray not being able to be pulled out separate to the rest of this box here, each individual shadow in the entire palette can be popped out. If you guys can see, there is a very, very small little indent here in the corners of the shadows. If you just take a little safety pin or a little pin and just kind of wedge it in between the plastic and the shadow, all of them can be pulled out. All of these pans are actually magnetized into the palette. So there's no glue or anything like that. You don't have to heat it to try to depot them. They are really, really easy to take out. You can put them in Z palettes. You can put them in your MAC shadow palettes. You can put them wherever you want to put these shadows if this whole stacked layered thing isn't your cup of tea. Okay, so now let's get right into each individual shadow. I'm going to be doing swatches of all 30 of the shadows on my hand so you guys can see what the pigmentation and what they look like applied. We will start off with the smoky eyeshadow palette, and we're gonna do the colors in the top row first. This first color is a shimmery mid-tone brown. Then we have a metallic mid-tone coppery brown. This one is a metallic plummy purple. This is a matte medium cool brown. Next up, we have a metallic shimmering charcoal. And here are those 5 swatched on my skin from top to bottom. So you can see all of them are incredibly, incredibly pigmented. This is with no primer, no base, one swipe of the shadow. So you guys can see all of them are amazing. And I'm most impressed by this matte color right here, because a lot of times matte dark colors don't show up as nice, or sometimes they go on kind of patchy or streaky, and this one is incredible. They're all beautiful. Now on to the bottom row of the smoky shadow palette. This first shade is a metallic silver charcoal gray. Then we have a mid-tone metallic brown with kind of khaki undertones. This is a dark emerald green. This is a black base with glittering silver glitter. And last up, we have a true dark matte black. And here's the bottom row of the smoky shadow palette swatched. You can see this is definitely a lot more darker colors, but they are still very, very opaque, very pigmented. Once again, no base. I will say I kind of wish they had put a darker matte black than this one. While this is relatively dark, I feel like had they gone for a true like carbon black, that would have made the smoky shadow palette that much smokier. Now we're gonna get into the swatches of the neutral shadow palette. We will start with the top row. This first one is a gorgeous metallic shimmering taupe. This is a matte mid-tone mauvey brown. This is a matte mid-tone, more on the light side brown. This is a matte light peach. And this one is a shimmering pearl white. So here are the first 5 swatched. You can see most of these are going to be either blending colors or highlight type colors. This pearl is really, really, really gorgeous. And this mid-tone taupey brown I can see being the perfect one shadow eyeshadow look. Now getting into the bottom row of the neutral shadow palette. First off, we have a matte darker brown. This is a metallic mid-tone brown. This is another mid-tone metallic brown, but it is a couple shades darker than this last one. This is a metallic champagne gold. And this last one is a shimmering champagne with pink duochrome. Here are those 5 swatched. You guys can see this part of the palette has a couple more darker colors. These 2 are gorgeous metallics, but I have to say the most unique one is this one here at the bottom, the kind of champagne gold with a pink duochrome when it hits the light. It is so incredibly unique. The camera isn't picking up on how beautiful this shade is in person. And last up, let's do the fun part of the palette. This is the bright colors. We're gonna start with the top row. This first one is a metallic shimmering golden canary. This is a metallic, kind of like a hot coral. This is a metallic hot pink, a metallic true bright orange, and a metallic royal purple. And here are those 5 swatched. This purple is looking a little bit more blue on camera than it actually looks in person, and I find purples like this generally do pull blue on camera for some reason. But you can see obviously in the eye look I'm wearing today, I was very, very inspired by this hot pink and this gorgeous, gorgeous purple. Okay, and now on to the bottom row of the colorful palette. This first shade is a metallic brightened sky blue. This is a metallic chartreuse green, a metallic bright emerald. This is a metallic teal blue. And last up is a metallic cobalt blue. And here are those last 5 swatched on the back of my hand. Now, one thing I will say is these 2 bottom blues are very, very similar. I don't feel like both of them were necessarily needed in this palette. And this top sky blue is not quite as rich and pigmented as a lot of the other metallic shades. But overall, they are very, very beautiful. One thing I do want to be sure to mention to you guys about these shadows is it is a little deceiving the way Makeup Forever markets this palette is because they do call it an eyeshadow palette. However, not all of these colors are US FDA approved to use in the eye area, particularly the pink and like the reds and even this purple. I don't believe any of those are approved to use around the eye area. The reason for that is because a lot of people have allergies to particular ingredients that are used to get those colors. So you can still use them. Clearly, I still use the purples and the pinks on my eyes. I do it all the time, but it's kind of like a do at your own risk kind of a thing. So now to quickly talk about the textures of these eyeshadows. There are 2 main textures that you can get in this palette. There are the complete mattes and then the very, very metallic type colors. And I will say that the formula on the matte and the metallic shadows are flawless. The metallics are incredibly, incredibly buttery, creamy, pigmented. As you guys could see in my swatches, all of them had full opacity in one swipe. The one thing with the mattes is because they are so creamy and dense with pigmentation, sometimes they can come across a little bit flaky or a little bit powdery. So if you are kind of hard on your shadows and kind of like just mush your brush into them really like hard and stuff, and you're not careful with them, you may find the matte shades in particular a little bit flaky for your liking. Overall, the shadow formula on all 30 of the shades in this palette are pretty much flawless. I really do love it. I love the variety of colors and finishes and textures that they did include in the palette. I think they did a really good job of that, and I do love the 3 palette concept with the neutrals, the smoky, and the fun bright pops of color. I will say that if the pops of color palette was able to be popped out of this box, that would have been much preferred, because I don't believe I'm going to take out the individual pans and put them in a Z palette, although you could if you wanted to. Either way, I thought this was a really good investment for me to make, because I was really interested in trying the new Makeup Forever Artist Eyeshadow formula, and I figured this would be the cheapest way to try a bunch of different colors, because the price per shadow is the best deal that you will get. But if you guys can't afford the entire palette, or if, you know, a lot of the colors didn't appeal to you but certain ones did, all 30 of the colors in this palette are all part of the Makeup Forever Artist Eyeshadow permanent line. So if only a couple of shadows appeal to you, or you can only afford to get a few, and some of the ones that I showed you appeal to you, you can get them individually. I am really glad Makeup Forever did that, because although these pans are really big and I doubt I will ever run out of any of these shadows, if I happen to run out of any of the colors, more particularly like some of the everyday neutral or the blending type colors, you can replace them in the palette, because you can get all of them individually. Overall, I have to give this palette a 2 thumbs up. Really good quality, pretty good packaging, and great price, especially if you break it down price per shadow. If you guys are interested in this palette, you can get it on Sephora.com, and I will put the exact link to this palette in the description box down below. And I believe you can also call Makeup Forever boutiques, particularly the one in New York, because they do have a waiting list going. So if this palette happens to be sold out on Sephora when you guys check, call the Makeup Forever boutique, because I believe they are expecting to get another shipment and restock these palettes in October. So definitely stay tuned if you guys are interested. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful to you guys, and I will catch you guys on Monday. Bye. Shimmer, glitter, just something that adds a lot of light to your eyeshadow. All of the products are housed in this really cute box here, and you can see it's got the blue in